Dusty bin? Yeah, weird. Different age.
Oh, Glenn, we've got you in already. We're straight in. Welcome to the Team Superdad wrap up. This is our car crash of a podcast. No, it can't be that. We're on episode 51. You're rocking here with Glen, aka Dating Dad, and me, Jonnie Jensen, creator of the Team Superdad community and founder of the Hero Academy program. We're gonna have some fun tonight. Is it we're going to go from start again at 1, or we're going to pretend we're at 51? I think I'll talk about that and how I link that into my gym work. On with the show.
Welcome to Team Super Dad. Real dads creating their best lives ever. More time, more money, more fun. You are not alone. You're on Team Super Dad.
Glenn,
I've never been that curtain before. I mean, that's exciting.
No, we had no green room. You were just straight in.
I mean, lucky I wasn't, doing my normal inappropriate stuff beforehand.
I know, like Tony Robbins, like state change. You're flipping, doing 50 press ups or something just to get yourself like all jacked up and ready to go.
Now, what sort of a man would do 50 press ups before doing anything?
I'm still at 56. My record is still 56. I'm not quite sure.
So are we talking about in 60 seconds?
No, I'm past 60 seconds now. I can go past. Okay. No, to be fair, it is 56 press ups in 60 seconds.
It's like how many press ups can you do in 60 seconds? That used to be a challenge. I used to watch a lot of Soccer EM, and then I'd just have like whoever the guest was, it'd be like, right, go, and they'd time 60 seconds and see how many press ups you could do. And you could do sort of 40, 50, 60 in that sort of time.
Yeah, it's got to be proper though. You can't be doing these little butterfly flutters. No. But listen, before we get too far into that, let's do the old intro stuff. You're here with the Team Superdad crew. We are the podcast team here. Myself, Jonnie Jensen, and over on the other side, Glen, a dating dad of Twitter fame and other B-list TV programs that you might have seen.
I love that you put me that high.
We need to get the Villa on YouTube. I've had multiple people who ask me about putting that episode of the Villa on YouTube, so I will do that. Each week we get together on this podcast, on this live, to basically wrap up the week that was, and we put it onto Monday so we can chit chat about our weekends. But I'm really aware from times good and bad that there were moments when I needed to fill the empty air with some sounds, whether it was driving the car, whether it was washing up, whether it was rocking back and forward in the corner of a room, wishing things to be better. All of those times. And so the wrap up podcast was inspired by that kind of desire. You can join in on the wrap up if you have a keyboard and you're not driving. But yeah, on the live, simply whether you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, where else could you watch this? You could have one of those devices and one of those socials anywhere. So you could be in the bog, you could be in prison,
in my garden, hiding behind a bush. You'll only see half of it, but you know what? It's worth it.
One hand holding the phone. That's disgusting.
The other holding a beer. What else would you be holding?
Oh, of course, holding a beer. So you can chime in. I wonder if our lady friend's going to join us this week.
It's Nadine. I was expecting her to be here this week. Nadine, you've abandoned us.
I am guilty of not getting in touch with her to get her on. Well, no, because I was focused on the 50th episode, and now here we are on the 51st, and so we'll get her on. But if you are a dad, if you're a man who wants to get involved with everything we're doing, then yes, the free community is at teamsuperdad.com/group, and we're hanging out. We've got a group on Facebook, we've got the emails, we've got some sort of training things that I do once a month in these like masterminds, and we're here to help you create your best life ever. And if you want to crank that up another level, then you can come and join us in the Hero Academy, which is our mastermind, our accountability, our life accelerator for men who want to ditch the life they feel stuck in and get into the life they really want to create. Life by design, as I talk about. And if you wonder what that little 50 press up reference was, I'm on day 86 now, day 86 of the Super Dad workout. I'm going to be at 90 in 3 days' time, in case your maths was really bad. Is that right?
Mate, that's just incredible. I mean, between the two of us, we'll be 10 off of 100. Crazy thought, isn't it?
It's 30 days in a cycle, then 30 days, and then 30 days. And then if you miss a day, you got to go back to day one, which isn't the end of the world. It's just what it is. It's important that people get that distinction. It isn't good or bad. It just is what it is. Day one is day one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole world of research around New Year's resolutions and stuff like that says if you just give 100% to a resolution, you say, right, if I break, I'm going to never break this, and I'm never going to, I don't know, drink or smoke or whatever. And then on day 30, day 40, you have a cigarette or you have a little drink, and you think that's it, I'm done. I'm finished now. Then you won't succeed. You'll just go back even worse than you were before. However, if you have the mindset of, you know what, okay, I lost out on a day, but I'll forgive myself. Okay, let's start again. Let's just carry on going as if not as if it didn't happen, but let's just go back to trying to do it again. As long as you don't beat yourself up about it, you'll get through it and you'll achieve far, far more.
Exactly. It's like the score is now 10-1. It's not 0-0 again. It's not
game over.
0-10 and we're behind. No, it's just 10-1. You had one little slip, one little. So yeah, and that's why I've done it like 30 days. You just keep going. So I'm in cycle 3. So it's kind of 26.3. If you look on the socials and you see my post, it says day 86, 26.3. That means I'm on the 26th day of the 3rd cycle. And in my grand vision for this, have you ever done park run? Do you know park run?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a 5K.
But tell our American listeners what park run is.
It's a 5K run for fun in a park. Someone wins, someone comes last.
Complex in terms of their descriptions, yeah.
That was a big old brainstorm. That was a badass brainstorm when they nailed that one. Yeah, 6K park run. The URL wasn't available yet. But no, they just 5K got together, did a run. Oh, by the way, before I carry on, in case you're wondering what is the title of today's podcast, I got crypto mugged. Yes, I'll be sharing with you today how I got scammed over the last month. Thankfully, not for too much money, but it has been a learning experience. I did think it was a bit squiffy, hence why I only put a couple of £100 in there. But yeah,
I'll spend my whole time trying not to say to people, listen back to the last show, so I don't have to say I told you so. But I won't say it. I just won't say it.
Nathan, if you're listening, you're a cunt. Such a nice guy. Do you know what's so funny, right? Here, and I know we do sometimes mention sporting references and the Woolwich, right? Given that I was scammed in a crypto trading situation, what team do you think Nathan, aka Cunt, supported?
There is absolutely only one team. It's got to be Woolwich all the way.
He took great delight. Here's the funny thing, right? He took great delight in telling me he was an Arsenal fan and like just sharing with me his thoughts on Arsenal and where they were at and
I mean I know it could be deemed slander, but every Arsenal fan is a wrong one.
Maybe he secretly, like, I don't know, plays polo or something. He's not into football at all, but so he decided to let himself like oh, I'm going to pick a sport. Okay, I'll pick football.
No, that'd make him a Fulham fan.
No, like he just kept kind of going down and down and down. Like they ended up.
Oh, what, until we hit rock?
I'll say
rock bottom.
Yeah, rock bottom. He said, "What's the worst?" Oh, I'm a football fan. I support Arsenal. Yeah, banter's good. I tried to tell this to my son the other day. Like football banter is okay, but it has to be on the light. It has to be fun. I'll tell you what, a main clanger about mentioning football is when you get up and do a presentation. I did a social media talk at a company event once, and the guy that came on before me was from a PR company. You'd think he'd know better. He stood up, and Chelsea had just won. It was either the FA Cup or the league. So he stood up, and you got to gauge your audience as well, right? So it was a team of a recruitment company in marketing. Majority of the room were women. Now, clearly, some women are massive football fans, but if you were going to hedge your bets, you probably wouldn't go with a football reference to a 90% room of women, let alone go big on Aren't Chelsea Awesome? So he basically did that for the first. He was so buzzed about Chelsea winning the league or the FA Cup, he just completely lost the room by going off on one about it. And I laughed and said to the bloke next to me, he's going to dig himself a big hole here. And he totally bombed. He totally bombed.
It's a risky thing doing presentations and content. Although I got some feedback on my presentation style this week. Apparently, I'm too polished, too slick. I don't which makes me come across as too professional and not really as engaging as I could be.
Oh,
so it's really thrown me. It's really been like, okay, am I supposed to rough up the edges? Am I supposed to throw in some artificial ums and ahs and that
if
sort
you're
of thing?
watching the live, I can see a couple of people, a couple of hundred people clearly, right? If you're watching the live, let's have some tips on how Glen could appear less polished. The first one that comes to mind for me is you could have your flies undone, right? And then be like, oh, my apologies.
That implies I'm wearing trousers, and clearly I'm not doing that.
Okay, yeah. Wear a shirt and maybe a jacket, sports blazer or something, and a pair of board shorts. How about that?
It could do, but then at some point I'd have to show them my crotch. Now I usually can do that, but that's restricted to OnlyFans.
Okay.
Links available on demand.
What are your slides like? Do you go with like a big picture and a kind of headline, or do you like a lot of text on your slides?
No text, hardly any text. So for me, if someone's looking at a slide and spending their time reading it, they're not listening to me. And so what's the point of me presenting? I could have sent that in an email. So
I knew we were on the same wavelength, Glen.
Yeah, I've actually got, and this is a tip I recommend for anyone who kind of has to do presentations and that sort of stuff. Have a slide deck, 10 slides, no more, no less. And each slide is a picture, just a picture. Remember those slides. Remember the order they're coming from. And that way, if ever you get caught on the hop and you said, have you got that presentation for me? Because we've got to load it up because you're doing it in 5 minutes. If you can think on your feet and you can come up with the words, just whatever you're talking about, just do it. So one of my slides is it's a fucking elephant in a Sahara, and so whatever stage I get to, I know that's coming up. So if I have a talk about, of course, this is a big problem. So just like eating an elephant, you have to do it one bite at a time. Or now obviously we've been talking about a tricky subject, but the elephant in the room is this. So you can just artificially cram whatever your subject matter is into whatever the picture is. No one there knows you're bullshitting. No one there knows that these are pictures that you've used 100 times before, but it always means that whatever happens, if you turn up somewhere and your slides aren't working or you haven't got the memory stick or whatever, you've always got some slides you can talk to.
Well, I'm with you. I like a big picture and a kind of a headline that leads into the subject that I'm going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I think, so do you drop in a little bit of anecdotal stuff? Do you kind of go with an example?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be. I've got to be excited talking about it, and they've got. So if I'm not excited talking about it, they're not excited about listening to it.
How about this? Do you reference people in the room? Do you try and involve them in the thing? Maybe that would be a little bit polished. Yeah.
To a degree, I think partly he was saying it's the tone and the cadence and the pacing. It's always content dense. And the flow of it is kind of so very like it's too artificially constructed to be. Look, if you're going to present this is how you do it, and this is your radio voice, and this is your presenting voice, and your cadence, your pacing, and it's the way it should be, which is too much. So I need to dial it down a bit. I need to stop being so radio slick and become more human, which is really, really interesting as feedback. I've never had that before. I've never had someone saying you need to rough it up a bit because, with this voice, it's rough as arseholes.
Glen, you're just too good, mate. Imagine that.
It's not.
You're just too good. Sorry. You need to be a bit more shit, please.
You need to be shit. You need to find that sweet spot. So I've been reflecting on that over the past few days. It's always good to get feedback. We've got a big feedback culture at my place. And it's always good to get challenged on things you think you're doing well. And you get positive feedback from some, but if your boss says you need to do it slightly differently, I'm going to listen to him. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Well, at least he won't get you fired as well. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So Where were we a moment ago? I was talking about the press ups and the super dad workout, right? So today, if you watched on the socials, if you're on my live stream, I was at Brighton Beach, southeast of Britain, and so I was getting my laptop fixed. Do you remember a few weeks back I had the exploding bag incident where I managed to dump absolutely every single item of my rucksack on the pavement, including a mobile phone, a laptop, and an iPad, all of which smashed.
Ouch. I mean, any one of those on its own is a bit of a fucking disaster, but shit comes in threes by the look of it.
Yeah, that's the one good thing is three things break. Those three things broke all at once there. Yeah. And so I was devastated. And at the same time, kind of like I took like a deep breath. I kind of went all zen on it. It was like, yeah, that's because I was rushing. I then went back and remembered how many times the bag hadn't been zipped up, but I'd kind of felt the bag like opening up, like when they cut Luke Skywalker out of that Yeti thing at the beginning of Empire Strikes Back. The Tauntaun. It was when my bag hasn't been zipped up, it's got a zip that goes all the way around. Yeah. So as it sort of opens, there's this magic moment where I'm like, oh no, I know what's happening. And the bag just kind of goes, Whoa! So previously I've caught it. In fact, the number of times I've caught it is quite remarkable. But on this one occasion, a few weeks ago, no. So Mark is the dude in Brighton, and he's got a little mobile phone laptop repair business. And
how'd you know Mark?
I just found him on Google. My dad sent me to a place to get my phone fixed. When I got there, they were closed. So I went on Google, searched up mobile phone repair because I used to live in Brighton, didn't live there anymore, but was visiting for the weekend. He came up. He works out of his home, and he's just a dude. He's like he's a bit like, and he won't thank me for this, but he's a bit like Shaggy out of Scooby-Doo. Right, except like a modern day kind of modern day.
That sounds like exactly the sort of person I want to hand my electronics over to.
No, but imagine a bit more geeky, right? And so he's just like, yeah, I got this. And you just kind of give him your stuff, and it's a great price. It does the job. Not always as quick as you want. Although today he replaced the lens cap on my phone in half an hour. Went back and got it.
See, this is the thing about a job. So I'm assuming he's done it quite well, yeah.
Well, the laptop, this is a boring conversation. The laptop is a touch screen, so there's a lot of chance for it to go wrong, and he's done a great job. I do trust him always to do a great job. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's 3 ways you can have a job done, and you can only ever pick 2. So you can either have it done quickly, have it done well, or have it done cheap. So if it's quick and you've done it well, it ain't going to be cheap. If it's cheap and quick, then it ain't going to be done well. And if it's quick and it's done if it's whatever the other ones are, you can only have 2 of those things.
2 out of 3, yeah, okay.
2 out of 3, and it sounds like it was done well and it was cheap, so it ain't gonna be quick.
Yeah, and it's not like crazy cheap. It's just good value. It's a little bit cheaper than it was much cheaper than Apple, and a little bit cheaper than some of these other shops charge.
Well, I guess cost and value are different things. And what's the business name so we can give them a shout out?
Oh yeah, Omnitech. Mark Shah, Omnitech in Brighton. It just basically, I give him 5 stars on the old Google reviews, and he's a good guy. Yeah, definitely.
So you on the Super Dad thing, you give him 5 push-ups.
That was
5 out of 5 push-ups.
Yeah, 5 out of 5 push-ups. Yeah. So in the realms of like opportunity, I had the opportunity today to do my workout in Brighton on the beach in the sun, and I have a lot of love for Brighton because I used to live there. Part of the collateral damage of picking a poor choice of wife. Not that she's just a wrong choice for me. Before it looks like I'm slating her, bad choice. Definitely the wrong choice for me. I was living in Brighton, and then we ended up moving away, and so now every time I go back there, I'm like, oh man. But yeah, did the workout on the beach. Sun was shining.
That sounds nice, but it also sounds hard. I've played football on the beach, and it's hard running and getting grip and all that sort of stuff.
No, first of all, it's pebbles. Second of all, you can't do a super burpee on the pebbles. Really, I don't think that hurt yourself. So I was on the grass, on the Hove lawns, basically. And just the reason I'm sharing this is because I did a live afterwards, and I want people listening to take opportunities. like to mix things up a bit. If you like the route you go to work, don't always drive. Sometimes walk, or don't always walk or drive. Sometimes ride your bike. Don't always go the same route. Some people do like the same thing every single day. I want people to mix it up a bit, experience different things, go a different way, do things in a different order. Don't eat the same breakfast every day.
No, I'm a big fan of that because I'm personally on the same wavelength. I like doing things differently, but it's always a danger that we kind of put this on other people. And I'm reminded of a modern day parable where a guy was going into a factory, a biscuit making factory, and he's a consultant going in, trying to mix things up, trying to change it, trying to improve it. And he's speaking to the factory worker who kind of looks at the biscuits and makes sure they're not broken. And he said, "Oh, okay, so if they're broken, you take them out." And it's great. He says, "How long have you been doing this?" And she said, "Oh, we've been doing it for 20 years." He said, 20 years? You've been standing, doing this, checking for broken biscuits for 20 years. Same thing every day. She said, "Oh, no, not at all. Sometimes there's bourbons." And it's like some people, that's what they're happy doing, and they've found their niche. And if they're found, because there's a difference between being stuck in a rut and being in a groove. And some people, they find their groove and they find their style and they do their things their way. More power to you. For me, I would think that's a rut. I need that. I need to change songs as I'm going around. My groove shifts and varies, and if I'm doing the same thing for too long, I can't do it anymore.
You see, I'm taking both sides of this, and I'm saying yes and yes, because I was listening to Bob Proctor this week. I'm listening to Bob Proctor. Curiously, when I listen to my Audible books, I quite often listen to them twice because I want to hear what I missed the first time. So, which is sometimes a challenge when they're like 10 hours long, but I do find it rewarding. So I'm listening to You Were Born Rich the second time. He says in this, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. You can't stand still. So Sandra, the biscuit shuffler, in fact, Tunnock's caramel wafers, exactly the same as they were in like 1890. Well, I don't know, I wasn't old enough then, but in terms of my life, the Tunnock's caramel wafer is identical as it always has been. Maybe they're in their groove. Maybe they've not needed to evolve. Maybe they're.
This is the thing. I do a whole series of talks at the moment on digital evolution, and part of it is one of the facts. My kids' favorite facts is sharks are older than trees. Sharks have been around since, I don't know, the Devonian or whatever, 400 million years or so, whereas trees have only been around for 350, 360 million years, which means sharks are older than trees. And the thing is, over that time, sharks have evolved a little, but basically they hit a sweet spot, and they're absolutely perfectly evolved for their environment. And as their environment's changed, every time their environment changes significantly, they get questioned, they get challenged. Are you still fit for purpose? When actually they say, yeah, we are. We're going to keep as we go, and that's fine as long as you get the challenge and you adapt accordingly if needed, and you're able to adapt. Then you'll survive and you'll thrive. And if you don't adapt, you die. So it's all about, as your life changes, roll with the punches.
So, but if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards because nothing stands still.
Yeah, sharks always move forward. They can't move backwards, otherwise they drown.
Yeah. Well, that I don't know. I feel like I want to ask, why did they make Jaws 4? Like, the 3D one?
Because of the gimmick of 3D. That's all it was. There are some things that should just stop. The Matrix. They got a new Matrix coming out. I was like,
what reboot?
I don't know, but they didn't need a Matrix 2 and 3, let alone 4. Just Matrix 1. That's all you need. I don't get all this bullshit about, oh yeah, it was always meant to be part of a trilogy. No, it wasn't. Just own it. It was a surprise hit. You made a lot of money and you thought, let's rinse this again.
Well, I've often put Keanu Reeves on my list of people I'd have at a dinner party. Yeah, I don't think I'd have him at a dinner party. I mean, don't get me wrong. If someone said, hey, Keanu Reeves wants to come around for dinner, then I would break out the good china. But equally, he's never struck me as a great conversationalist, someone who's going to get the thing going. He had a great thing where he said, you know what, I'm at the stage of my life where if someone says 2 + 2 is 5, I'll say
Sure it is. Just you enjoy, you be you. Whereas I'm sitting there thinking, fuck off, don't be stupid. 2 and 2 is literally 4.
I want to get
And
into something like that.
I'm happy to have those debates and those discussions. And for me, that's what a dinner party is all about. I want guests who are going to be challenging each other in a fun way and sharing stories and being proactive and gregarious. And Keanu Reeves just strikes me as someone who's just quite laid back, and he'll sit and he will enjoy the shit out of it. But I don't.
Particularly now, you're probably right. I think I was kind of going Bill and Ted, Point Break. You know, I think maybe. Yeah. Interesting.
Have you got a dinner party list?
I've not thought about that for a long time, actually. But in the realms of having one in the past, I know that I put Robin Williams and Winston Churchill on there.
Oh, you're going Alive and Dead then?
Oh, these are the subtle distinctions of your dinner party. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how many guests can we have? Play along at home.
Usually it's 6, but one of those has got to be yourself. So it's 5 guests.
Okay, 5 guests. And I think I want to have a couple of women there. Okay. Joan Rivers.
Okay, yeah, I can see that one. She'd be good.
He's alive. I don't know if they're all alive or dead, right? Okay, I'm just going to go people I want to have there. Okay, people I want to have there. Because I'm going to have, there's me, Winston Churchill, Robin Williams, Joan Rivers, and another woman. Someone gobby and hot, but also intelligent. I'd like her to be like, because we've got some serious chit chat going on around the table.
And they've got to be able, you've got to be confident enough to force your way into that sort of conversation.
Oh, as well. How about Marilyn Monroe?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going for. Robin Williams, Joan Rivers, Winston Churchill, me, and Marilyn Monroe.
You need one more table of 6.
What am I missing? I'm another woman.
I don't know, but you've literally said 5 people.
Oh yeah, okay.
And to get to 6, I mean, do we need to do the whole 2?
We weren't going to row about maths. I thought we weren't going to row. Okay, so I guess if we're going boy, girl, I've got to get another woman.
It's your dinner party, mate.
Yeah. I want someone. Oh no. I was going to say Madonna, but she seems to have gone a bit weird and up her own arse a bit, doesn't she?
Well, look, if you can have Winston Churchill, you can choose at what stage you have him. So you could say Madonna from 1987.
Yeah. Oh, or would I go? I don't know how much fun she is. How much fun is Aretha Franklin? I've always wanted. One of my great losses. I didn't see her live, but no, if I had her for dinner, she could sing afterwards.
Exactly. That's multi-purpose entertainment.
There we go. Aretha Franklin.
Good shout. Now, if I was going down the alive or dead route, then I'd have Donald Trump, Boris Johnson, Katie Hopkins, Nigel Farage, and Jonathan Rees-Mogg. They'd all be dead. But if we're going to go down the actual I'd enjoy it route, then I'd definitely go Stephen Fry, Tim Minchin.
The guy who plays piano.
Yeah, he's an absolute comedic, just a great thinker and a genius. I think, what's his name? Who does the chat show, BBC One, Graham Norton. I think he'd be great fun at a dinner party. I want Victoria Coren Mitchell there, because I think she's brilliant. Aisling B, again, funny but sharp, and I guess and me.
Bit more highbrow there because we don't recognise some of those names, or
don't remember.
I don't recognise.
Sorry, was that one?
First of all, you froze a little bit, and I did a screen. Okay. You know when the screen freezes and you get the person doing the weird face?
Oh yeah, okay.
You did the most amazing Cockney apples and pears, like market stall geezer face, which I screen grabbed. And I'm now going to use multiple times and locations to share this episode.
I don't want to know what you're using that for. Just, ignorance is bliss.
So could you run us through your list again, please? Because I missed it.
Yeah. So we've got Stephen Fry. We've got Tim Minchin. We've got Graham Norton. We've got Victoria Coren Mitchell. And we've got Aisling B.
So I don't know who Coren Mitchell is.
Victoria Coren Mitchell. She is She's the host of Simply Connect. She's a writer, like a journo sort of person. She plays poker. She's married to David Mitchell. She's not like a panel show person, but she's just sharp as you like. She's so funny, so intelligent, so biting. I think that she'd really vibe quite well with the rest of the crowd.
Okay. Oh, how about, right, we can share this one. How about if you're going to have a dinner party with absolute nutters there, like a complete that was going to go off the hook, and you were going to be out doing shots, hedge pushing, throwing up through people's letterboxes, that sort of stuff.
Oh, Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed, good one.
He definitely has to be up.
Who's the DJ? He's actually a Tottenham fan. Brandon Block. So Oliver Reed, Brandon Block.
I don't even know who that is, but I'll take your word for
Brandon
it.
Block is a mad Ibiza sort of kind of back in the DJ, but it turns out he's actually a Spurs fan, and they do like lock-in kind of all dayers in the pub that's like behind like the West. No, not behind the West, behind the like Paxton Road, behind the school. You know where the school is, up next to White Hart Lane?
Yeah, the Bill Nick.
Yeah, the pub that's behind that school.
Yeah, I used to go there all the time. Decent sized beer garden.
Yes, yeah. So Brandon Block, Oliver Reed,
Pete Doherty.
Oh yeah, Pete Doherty.
Amy Wine.
If he gets the heroin out, they could get a bit heavy.
Yeah, it could indeed, and also he'd be encouraging Amy Winehouse.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go. You know the guy who wrote the book, the Howard Marks, the pothead geezer. He'd be fascinating to have there.
I don't know who that is, but yes.
Oh, Cheech from Cheech and Chong.
Fictional character.
No disrespect, Chong, but I always thought Cheech. Oh, Dudley Moore. I don't know about any women here, but Dudley Moore and Peter Cook, they'd have to come as a double act, obviously.
They'd be messy, and that'd be great.
Yeah. Are we bringing any women though? Maybe.
I've already said Amy Winehouse.
Oh yeah. Do you think she'd be wild? What about Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders? That'd be quite good.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be wild. I think certainly not these days. But
no,
even at their height,
we went like 80s French.
I still feel like they're often with comedians and stuff. They create these massive out there characters. The more out there the character, the less out there the person.
Yeah. Apparently, Steve Martin is a bit of an arsehole.
I've heard this. A lot of them will be.
He said I'm a twat, by the way, but that's beside the by. But I think
this is allegedly. This is all allegedly. Whereas I know I said comedians, but you got and I'm not a particular fan, partly because he's a West Ham fan, but Russell Brand, someone like that. He was someone who thinks he's all that, and then he's gone off on one. So we don't want Russell Brand now. We want Russell Brand party. We want party Russell, not eco Russell. If it was going to be a dinner party that I didn't actually have to go to, it's an absolute flipping. As long as I don't have to be the bar, I'm all right with that. Although I'd love to have met Oliver Reed. Yeah, definitely. And I just had another idea of some women I would quite like to have there, but it's gone, totally forgotten. It'll come back to you, I'm certain. Wild. She was a singer. Okay, well, that was quite fun. An impromptu dinner party guest. Yeah, if you want to share your dinner party guests with us, I'd love to have that. You can a Dating Dad or Team Super Dad HQ on Twitter and Insta. We'd love to see that. Maybe we could make a little social media table for our tables there, Glenn. That'd be quite good. We are getting some love for that chit chat there. Rob, good old Rob Proud. He's not Scottish, by the way, but he's up in Durham, by the way. What was I going to tell you about? Oh, my dad. Saw my dad today because I was down in Brighton, picking up the laptop, did the press ups on the beach. Take the opportunity to do something different if you get the chance. Don't get stuck in the same groove or a rut. Mix it up. Discover new opportunities. I'll tell you why, back to that point about why you should mix it up. Because I bumped into Tommy Cuff, who is a British weightlifting champion current and also a Team Super Dad member. And so I did my workout on Hove Lawns. Then I went down on the beach, did the live. Sun was beautiful, a bit windy. And then as I'm walking back up towards the car, I see a bloke cycling down, because Brighton's all about the cycling. I see this bloke cycling down, right? And he looks like, that Guinness poster where they've got the shark on the bike and then the fish on the bike next to him, right?
Tommy's a big bloke, yeah, and he's got a big beard, and he's got a like this top. What do they call them, top knot thing, right?
Oh yeah, man buns.
And he's wearing a pair of like quite short shorts, yeah. So I could see this picture like a long way off. Right, I was like, that looks like Tommy, yeah. So as he comes past, I go like, Tommy, Tommy. And he does like a mini skid, and he goes, "It's me, Jonnie." He's like, "Yeah, I know. How's it going?" So if I hadn't have taken that opportunity, I wouldn't have been able to stop and chit chat with Tommy.
It's always nice when you get a bit of serendipity and you bump into someone.
Yeah, but if you hadn't done like left turn at Albuquerque, sliding doors, kind of.
It's always one of those weird moments where theoretically, by that rationale, there's no reason you wouldn't have bumped into someone else if you'd done something else. I constantly wonder how many times I've been looking at my phone or done something like that, and someone I've known has walked past, and I've just not seen them, or if I've been looking that way and someone's walked that way. It's one of those weird things. You just don't know who's out there and how close you are. There used to be a dating app called Happen. I think there probably still is around, and the whole thing was about matching you up with people who were in your area and on the same routes and all that sort of stuff. And it makes me wonder, out of all the people I know and all the Twitter people I know, how closely I've come to some of those over the time.
Well, I mean, this does tip into kind of what do you believe, like universe, you know, like law of attraction, God's blessings, flipping random crap that's completely not connected to anything. And
I'm with you on random crap.
So you don't believe there's any rhyme or reason that two people cross their paths on a particular day at a particular time?
Fuck no. No, there's absolutely no reason. We apply a reason to it. We come up with something, but that's got as much likelihood of having reason as something arbitrary happening in your life because of planets. It makes no difference whatsoever. You're there, they're there, and if you're in the same place, it's probably because you're doing the same sort of things.
It's vibrational energy. How do you answer it? How do you answer then the phenomena when you ring someone and they've picked up? That used to happen more often with the old school phones, right? But you go to ring someone and they've picked up the phone to ring you, like you've rung each other at the same time. How do you answer that?
Usually it's because both of you have been talking about something, or something's happened and it sparked off something. Like if you've remembered that this has got to happen, or that this event has happened and you wanted to chat to someone about it, they're doing the same things and having the same thoughts because you're talking about the same things. And all you've done is you've remembered the one time out of 10,000 phone calls you've made where it's happened, and you've forgotten. It's the middle lane fallacy, where in traffic, you only ever remember, you always sit and go, God, I'm always in the slow lane. Or when you're lining up at a supermarket, I'm always in the slow queue. You forget because you just don't notice every other time you're not, because that's not something that glanced in your head. And so every time that happens on the phone, all you're doing is remember the one time it did happen and forgetting the 99,000 other times it didn't. That's all it is. It's positive reinforcement.
I feel like I'm on the edge of my seat here, like I'm about to lose or win the flipping debating trophy at the grammar school. There is, you can measure the vibrational like energy, like the force.
I'm not even going to say you. Yeah, I'm just not even going to say you literally can't. There is zero science around that. And the thing about it is, science is. It doesn't matter what we believe. Science is true or false. And if we find something is false, and then our technology evolves and we find it to be true, we can change that. However, every single shred of replicable peer-reviewed science says there is no such thing as energy fields and vibrations and chakras and connections and all that sort of stuff. It just doesn't exist. If people believe it exists and it makes themselves happy, more power to you. But it's just not true.
I know, but Sean Stevenson of the Model Health Show, he talks often about this machine that measures the they've got this machine they can show like it's the heart. It's around the heart. I'm trying to search it up here.
That's wonderful. And you know what? Give me half an hour and I'll produce a machine that will tell you what color aura is around your body, and then that will tell you what your next week is going to be like.
No, not that kind of flipping.
But that's all this is.
Russell, what's he called? What's the old
Oh,
Astral,
Russell.
right,
Yeah, not Russell Brand. He follows me
Hart,
on Twitter, I
Russell,
think. Yeah, the old horoscope person.
yeah, he's a millionaire through doing those things.
Yeah, and because gullibility is a lucrative business.
Gullibility, is that a word? Gullibility, gullibleness.
I'm going to say it is, and see if you actually look it up.
Right, I'm trying to find this heart measuring device here. I'm gonna have to get Sean Stevenson on the Team Superdad podcast, and when he says,
Go for it.
"Why the fuck am I going to come on your tin pot podcast?" and I'll say, "Because Glen says you're full of shit."
I 100%. Show me a bit of peer-reviewed evidence, and I'll consider changing my mind. However, if that was a thing, it would not be refined, and it wouldn't be just down to one person having this bit of technology. This would be worldwide commonplace, because it's the same argument as I make for alternative medicine. You know what they call alternative medicine that works? Medicine.
No, there's a big difference between functional medicine and what they call like mainstream or Western medicine or medicine that's driven by the pharmaceuticals. So functional
Yeah, that's
medicine
fine.
treat the root cause, whereas traditional medicine will treat the illness.
If something works, then it's medicine. If something doesn't work, it's homeopathy or alternative, or let me grind something up and dilute it down.
Heart coherency.
Okay.
Right. And
Hey Jonnie. Now that we've established you're definitely not gullible, do you want to? I've got this plan to make some money off of Bitcoin. Do you want to invest? Just give me a couple of £100.
So do you want to know what happened, right?
Tell me what happened, mate.
The phone rings. I'm already been set up. Now this could be like a long chain of events, maybe like the universe had planned it. Yeah. So I've been getting phone calls like every 6 months for the last. I'll bet it's about 10 years, right? And I'm pretty sure it's off I think I've mentioned this in the pod before, off of something I answered in the Evening Standard, which is the London newspaper. They used to produce it in the Evening Standard, and it said like, do you want to know how to make money on the stock exchange? What is trade shares, whatever. And you text the number in, nothing came back, right? Nothing. I was like, okay, fine. And so, but then obviously they just built up this database of people who are interested in investing in. So periodically I get these people call me and they want me to invest in wine or sheds in Albania or car parks in Uzbekistan or whatever. And so I've dabbled in all sorts of things, and I had some crypto, some Bitcoin, and some Ethereum in a Coinbase account, and so I'd done that through a trusted group I'm in called Tears of Freedom, run by Jason Greystone, really cool guy, knows his stuff. So I get this phone call, and they're from Crypto Nero. So the guy I'm trying to get him off the phone, thinking he's one of those other people. Then he sort of sweet talks me into the phone conversation. Then I get the usual thing where it's once you're interested, then you get passed on to someone who's going to set you up and talk to you about how it works. So they're saying, we know the markets, we advise our customers, they buy, and then we let you know when to exit the trade or whatever. So I'm a little bit dubious. I've been on their website. And so here in part of my due diligence, right, I've gone on Whois, like Nominet, yeah, to see how old the URL is, when it was bought and stuff. So I said, so part of us chatting about here. Oh, by the way, Rob Proud says that gullibility is actually a word. So I should never doubt the wisdom of Glen Osco, unless he's talking about spiritual things, in which case I think it's a little bit too polished, a bit too science-based. Gullibility, a tendency to be easily persuaded that something is real or true. Credulity. You can never underestimate the gullibility of people. That's true. You can never underestimate. People that know me would say I'm pretty gullible. So he goes like, yeah, you put some money in, we'll advise you, we'll increase it, and then you can put some, So I said, look, well, clearly I'm not going to put much in here because I don't know who you are. I said, your website's got no pictures of people. You said you're in Stockholm, Sweden, but like, who are you registered with or whatever? Crypto really isn't registered, and not many countries are even that happy about it. So it was all kind of a grey area. So I look on Nominet to see how old the URL is. The URL is about 9 months old. To which he answered, well, we used to have a different URL and we changed it. So we're about 3 weeks in. The trades have gone well. So now I've gone from like 250. No, so I put like the 100 in, then I increase it to 250. So some kind of 6 to 7 weeks later, it's like £800. So then I decide I'm going to take 400 out, because if we made it from 400 to 800 before, then we'll just make it from 400 to 800 again. And now I'm no worse off. And this is where the plan started to crumble. I went to my Coinbase account, got the wallet number to transfer the Bitcoin back into the Coinbase, and it didn't arrive. So then I ask in the Tears of Freedom group, I'm like, how do you know if you're being scammed in crypto? And about 4 or 5 people who clearly knew way more than me, and it would have been prudent I'd asked them in the first place, said, this stinks, Jonnie. I really wouldn't put my money anywhere near it. I was like, it's all right. I've taken 400 back out. And you know what the dodgy fuckers did? In the long key for your Bitcoin wallet, in the long key, like out of the 32 characters, they'd inserted an L in the. So I'd copy and pasted it in. And then I'm like, Nathan, Gooner, where's I put the transfer and it says it's completed, but it hasn't shown up in my Coinbase. He's like, oh no, it'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow.
No, I mean, that's one of the few. The whole thing about crypto is instant. It's instantaneous.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Oh well, I thought it'd be pretty instant, to be honest. Yeah. So sure enough, out of the blue, after about 7 positive trades, the next trade, bearing in mind I'd moved what I thought I'd moved half the money out. The next trade flipping went upside down completely, and the account was like, minus £1.50. And so then I emailed their support address, and I was like, just presuming that the fact that I haven't heard from you for my last email, and that my account has now gone from 7 wins to 1 big loss, that I'll never hear from you again. And no reply to that. And interestingly, if I go to cryptonero.com now, the website is just gone. I don't quite understand why. We'll just check again. Crypto Nero, no, this site can't be reached. No. But you know what? The dodgy bastards, they wanted me. They were like, send us referrals. Mm-hmm. And I was going, I'm not going to send you any referrals until I know more about you.
Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, mate.
Well, that's why I only put a couple $100 in.
Yeah, you should never invest more than you're willing to lose. That's a good way of doing it. But it's still it sucks when you kind of put. I'm not saying you trust them with your life, but you put a bit of trust and a bit of faith in someone, and then they deliberately let you down. Yeah,
the hardest part of it is knowing that it was a bit squiffy, and in my mind, doing what I thought was due diligence, but my willingness for it to be good did actually cloud my judgment. It did. I didn't ask people that I knew, does this make sense? Because clearly when I did, they all laughed at me, basically, in a polite manner. Carl Moody, thank you very much. He was very polite, but I think he was laughing in his tea as he typed it, probably. No, but his big thing was, this is pissing me off because you're not the first person that's said this, basically, and they're ruining the good name of blockchain and Bitcoin and everything. So, listeners,
that's a big trouble because you got if one bad agent can undermine the work of thousands of good ones. It's just because then you just don't know. It's the whole thing of if you got a whole pack of M&Ms and only one of them's poisoned, you're not going to eat the M&Ms.
No. But what Carl said was, just if you are listening and want to know, like, basically the better way to do this, this company, this flipping shysters from Estonia or whatever they actually seem to have come from, because not Sweden. Carl said, if they want to take a commission off of your trade, don't do that. Tell them you'll gladly pay them for their information, and you'll gladly pay them on results, but that you'll do your trades through a recognized platform such as Coinbase or I think it's called Bit Finance, basically a reputable platform, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are listening, I hope you take that on board and don't make the same mistake as because clearly I'm the guru, I'm the leader of the community, I know everything.
Hey, some people's best contributions is to be a bad example for others not to follow. And I think you've done your research, and you've earned you've probably saved listeners thousands upon thousands of pounds, as they might have been caught in the same sort of web.
It is pretty much the core premise of Team Superdad is that I never want people to go through the struggle and strife that I've been, and most of it was self-inflicted. Like, because you can have a relationship that goes bad, you don't have to be miserable for 4 years about it, right? You can, lots of choices, you can have a job you don't like, or you can leave a job you don't like, but don't sit there and be confused about it. If you get the chance to go and live in a different country, don't and ah about it, just do it or don't do it. Like don't let it. Yeah. So I'm the patsy. I'm the one that takes the kick in the nuts just to see whether it was a real leather boot or a rubber comedy stunt, but no, it was a kick in the nuts. It definitely was a kick in the nuts. And that is the wisdom for the week on that front. Kids have gone back to school this week, Glenn, and as we head towards the end of this wrap up, it would be an absolute shocker not to talk about our kids, and in an appropriate way, of course, but coming of age for my boy this week as he went off to secondary school, I felt I was trying to play it cool, but his mum was verging on a bit nutty about, like, where is he? Are we tracking him? What time's he there? What time's he getting picked up? Like, which I didn't really. I was like, that's a bit excessive. We've got to give him some freedom to make mistakes. Turns out because she lives on an estate where there's lots of other kids. Turns out she sees how much of a state he gets in every time he goes out and plays with all the other kids. They'll take the piss and he'll come home crying, something like that, which I wasn't really aware of. So she was concerned. I was like trying to keep it cool as the dad, but I had put the Life 360 app on his phone. I told him it was there. I was like, look, when you get to school, it will beep. When you leave school, it will beep. So, like, I know you're on your way or whatever. But it went pretty well. It went pretty well. The first day, we were because the short story is we've only got one pair of trousers at the moment because they're stuck on a container ship getting over from somewhere. So you have to wash them and then tumble dry them. Yep. So I've washed them, I've tumble dried them, I've taken them out. The button, it's got two buttons. One's on the back pocket and one's on the fly. The one on the back pocket, absolutely fine. The one on the fly, melted.
Oh, mate.
How many buttons have you sewed on in your life, Glenn?
For the purpose of this story, none. I'm not going to say that I've actually sewed on thousands of the fuckers.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean, I've sewn on a few buttons, but not the sort of thing where I do have a sewing kit at home. First of all, kudos to me. And I do have a rough idea of what to do. So also kudos. So, but yeah, I had to cut the button off the back pocket and do a quick, make do job on putting the front.
That's good work, man. It's good.
So did you used to work at a button factory or where?
No, I've got 4 kids.
Oh, you got 4 kids. Okay.
Yeah, and also, yeah, you grow up. And I'm not going to do the woe is me, but you grow up without much money, and you end up making sure that, if you rip a pair of trousers, you can't afford a new pair of trousers. You've got to fix them. Yeah, and your mum's not going to do it because she told you not to skid on the pavement, so it's your fault. You sort it out. So you learn how to sew. I don't know how to use sewing machines and shit like that. Never got around to that, but I know how to sew up rips and tears and replace buttons and what have you. Oh,
so as well as doing a cook along, we'll do a sew along. When the training academy is fully in swing. I didn't know we were going to do a sewing section on there, but we are going to do that. So like secondary school, he had a walking buddy and trying to do packed lunch, trying to explain to him like how much you should spend on a card and not spend on a card. So he goes, well, they open the canteen in the morning, so I'm going to get a pan of raisins. Obviously, they're only £1. And break time, lovely. You can do sarnies, you can do whatever. So he goes, I got a can of Coke and I got a so-and-so. One of the lads, he goes, I won't say Calvin, or it doesn't matter, does it? He goes, he got 2 cookies because he wanted to give me one. So he gave me a cookie. And then at lunch, I got, so basically, he spent about 6 quid. So then I had to say to him, well, has been a fat bastard. You can't spend 6 quid a day. You just, but it was like,
have they not got like limits and shit?
no, they do. They do. They do. But it's sort of like, I think it was like in a transaction, you know, whereas, but if you go and hit it at each sort of checkpoint, you know, but also it's just sort of a bit of a learning curve. I felt like it was okay just to let him, you know, just enjoy the buzz of like clicking, like getting his card out and tapping it and buying stuff, and, you know, exciting.
And for me, that's one of the biggest parts about secondary school is letting them learn the lessons and letting them learn some, obviously within reason, being a safety net underneath. But they've got to learn that if they leave late, then they're going to be late. There's no one's going to bail them out. If they don't do their homework, they're going to get in trouble. They've got to learn if they mouth off to a year 11, then something's going to happen. As long as I think within boundaries. I just let them go, let them learn, and if it all goes to shit, then I'll be there. So, for example, when my eldest daughter came home one day, and it'd been a bit wet, and she had one shoe on. So, why have you only got one shoe on? She said, "Oh, this kid he threw my shoe up a tree." So, what are you talking about? Where's your shoe? No, he threw my shoe up a tree. And it turns out that he'd been annoying her. So she being stupid, had thrown her shoe at him. He'd grabbed it and thrown it in the air, and it had landed in a tree, and they couldn't get it down. And they'd spent over an hour trying to get his shoe down. She couldn't, and they couldn't, because he knew what was happening. And so she's walked home, and I've got straight in the car, gone down there. They're still trying to get this shoe out of a tree. So I've had a good word with them in a polite way, but they knew they'd fucked up. And then I went home and told my daughter, look, I know I've had a go at them. Don't throw a frigging shoe. I mean, come on. Who throws a shoe?
And throw it even further.
It's ridiculous. And and his parents the next day, he wrote an apology letter, and they bought her a new pair of shoes and stuff, which was really sweet of them. But yeah, you got to let them make those mistakes, so they can learn from them. Because no amount of telling people don't buy crypto from random sources is going to tell them. You just got to let them make the mistake, and then they can learn.
Yeah, I should have.
I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
No, okay. I should have seen that. And this is your eldest, yes?
That's my eldest. She turned 17 the day before yesterday.
I know. I saw your tweet. It's the same age as when you met your ex.
That's right, and which is like really weird. I'm not sure how I feel about it, because I can't imagine her coming home with a boyfriend and then them being together for at least 18 years. No, you're a child. You don't know life. You don't know anything.
I had this exact conversation with Mark, the phone fixer guy, today, because we were talking about why don't I live in Brighton anymore. Oh, look, we've segued beautifully back to the beginning of the show, and I said, I will give my children considerably better advice than my dad gave me.
Oh,
my
absolutely.
dad's fourth marriage, right? Fourth marriage. but the thing is, he never tried to give me relationship advice. He did give me one advice once. Was he said about someone I was pining after, and he basically said, stop fucking pining after her, and she'll come chasing back. And I thought that sounds like the biggest load of nonsense ever. And now I look back on it, he was totally right. I was chasing her, and that wasn't in any interest to her at all.
Yeah, there's bits of advice you can give, and some of it you can give in advance, and some of it you just got to help them learn the lesson from once they do it. There was no reason it happened in the first place, but give it reason afterwards to make it worthwhile. Yeah.
And driving lessons, is that all is that going to happen?
Yeah. So for a birthday, I got her. She's getting a driving license, or provisional, and I'm buying her an intensive course. I think I don't know how many lessons, 5 lessons or 10 lessons, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. To be honest, I think she might need a few more. She's confident and all that, but she's not the most spatially aware young lady.
Do you ever let? So I let my kids change gear whilst we're driving. Do you ever do that?
No need. Also.
Oh, so that's going to be a bit of a hurdle.
No, to be honest, I think she just wants to learn auto. She said, "Dad, I'm never ever going to drive a manual. There's no situation I'm ever going to need to buy a manual car." To be honest, by the time she's in sort of 10 years' time, she probably won't even need to drive it.
Self-driving.
So she said, I'll just learn in an auto. That's all I need to know. And I'll make her right.
I've met your daughter and I know you, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, there's some Oxco logic in that, and that's fine. That is absolutely fine. Yeah. Well, the final point to mention is this weekend was the first weekend for our local Team Superdad crew that Paul and I are. We've synced up our kids. I've changed my weekends now, so I was synced up with Paul, and we're around his house, and you and your guys we're in sync now. So we're somewhere down the line, in the not too distant future, we've got a big family bowling event or
I like the idea of that. That'd be fun.
Thing happening. Yeah. Good stuff. Listen, viewers on the live stream, listeners on the podcast. This has been episode 51. I might call it episode 1.2 because then you kind of like, it doesn't seem like, oh no, 51, 50. Where's the 100? But then
it'll be. I'd say episode 1, series 2.
I know, but we're already in series 3 of the Team Superdad podcast.
When they go series 3, episode 1.
No, we're in series 3, episode. This is episode 48 of series 3. But it's the 50th. It's the 50th installment of the wrap up.
At some point, you're going to have to do some sort of weird timeline sort of shit. You need a Doc Brown. This is this bit, and then it veered off here, and there were other bits here, and then you went back in time and redid that.
The possible solution is that we split it off into 2 podcasts, but we're going to stick with it. Thanks, Rob. See you next week. We'll stick with it, and we'll do this once a week. We have a serious one once every couple of weeks, and every week we have a good old piss take and hear what gullible shit Johnny's been hooked on again. Bloody good to hang out, Glenn. Thanks for joining me.
Always is, mate. Have an enjoyable week.
Yeah, Team Superdad crew. We'll catch you next week. Let's get that video going. I should get my cursor over the top now. I'm gonna have to do that. Cut that out in a minute. Bloody hell. See you next week. Take care.
This has been Team Superdad. Find us at teamsuperdad.com. Join the program and create the best life ever for you and your children. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.